Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I am so excited about today's video. This has been weeks in the making. I'm going to start off with a very simple question. What's your skin type? Chances are, if you're coming to this channel, because it's kind of all about skin, you're going to have an answer to that. Personally, I'm a relatively normal skin that skews dehydrated. That's my skin type. Or so I thought. So today's video is all about a test that I did at home that tested my skin to analyze and understand what's happening with it. And let me tell you, the results totally surprised me. So I was introduced, I guess it was last month, to a company called Skin Trust Club. And I was introduced by a skincare brand that I use absolutely every single day called S. And I've done a review on their skincare line. Their whole premise is about understanding and feeding our skin's natural microbiome. And essentially that's just the combination of microbes that are on our skin. There are some that are good and there are some that are bad. But essentially if we feed it the right stuff, that's what delivers healthy skin. So I was watching a live done on Instagram between Skin Trust Club and S Skincare Ireland, and it was all about how we figure it out. As soon as that live was over on Instagram, I immediately got in touch with Skin Trust Club and said, sign me up, I want one of these. So they sent me out a kit free of charge to do in my home. So the way that this works is you order the kit online, you download the free app onto your phone, the kit arrives, you register it through the app, you do a test, it's just a swab of the cheek, you mail it in and you wait for your results. And the results come back and it gives you an analysis of the skin. It also even gives you recommendations of the types of products to use for this skin type, as well as maybe some steps and things you hadn't thought about. And it also looks at the environmental factors that might contribute to your skin and your skin health. Okay, this is what the kit looks like that comes delivered in the mail. It has an instruction manual that shows you how to use it. You open it up. Then you open up your app and you scan the QR code, and that connects your test with you who has already registered with the app. It asks you a couple of questions, and then here are the pieces of the pack. So it gives you a self-addressed envelope so you can ship this thing back that you don't have to pay for it. It's all free. And here are all the pieces. Now it's super easy. You take your little swabby thing, you mix it in the mixture, and then you run that over your cheek, I think for a minute or so. And you just kind of rub it around, super easy, easy, easy. And then you put it back in the thingy, you break it off, you put the lid on, and then it goes into the envelope and it ships back to Skin Trust Club. This whole process takes no more than a couple of minutes. Super, super easy. So I think I dropped mine in the mailbox on Friday, and I'd already gotten a notification on Monday that they had my sample and they were going to process it. Now, there's quite a bit that goes into it. It took about 3 weeks, somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks to get the results. And I was just opening the app every day going, ooh, what are the results? What are the results? Okay, so I got an email to indicate that my results were ready. I'd also arranged to have a chat with one of the guys at Skin Trust Club just to help me walk through it, because I knew I wanted to do this video for you guys to kind of track this whole process for me, and I wanted to make sure I understand what the results were. So I was trying to not peek in advance of that call, but there was no way that was going to happen. So I took a look at the results. I was not prepared for what I saw. So 100%, if I had to choose between dry and oily, I would have skewed dry, but I thought that my skin's quite balanced. It's not highly reactive. It doesn't make a lot of oils. It's not super, super dry, but it is dehydrated, which, dryness is lacking oil, whereas dehydration is lacking water. And I know that my skin is always quite dehydrated, so I'm always misting all stuff. Anyway, long story short, the first thing when you open up the results is it will give you a number, and that's going to tell you what your skin type is. Now, if you are between 80 and 100, it means you're balanced. It means all the microbes they're healthy. You have healthy skin, and there's a good balance of the different types of microbes. Well, again, that's between 80 and 100. Well, I came back at 67, and anything below 80, you're either going to go oily or you're going to go dry. I have oily skin. Ha! I think the jaw actually hit the ground. I'm like, what? I do not have oily skin. Science don't lie. So the first thing it does is it gives you that number, and it's going to give you a little description that talks a little bit about it. So apparently I'm overproducing a bit in the sebaceous territory, which means I'm skewing oily. So the next thing you do is you start to get into the details of the type of bacteria that you have present on the skin. And this is going to be totally different for everybody. And this is another point that I thought was quite interesting. So what my results showed were the highest concentration of Propionibacterium. And that is commonly the most found bacteria, but this does skew oily. So I'm sitting at 80% with that. And what was really great though, I'm not going to get into all of the details, but there's, a balance of different types of microbes. The interesting thing was the presence of lactobacillus. And she said that oftentimes you don't see that at all, but in my case, it was actually a really good inclusion because it's often associated with healthy skin. So it's hydrating, it's protective. So having that presence was really, really good. So the absence of lactobacillus is often the case with people that have psoriasis or dermatitis. So having this present in my skin was really, really good. As for the rest of it, each of these microbes do different things. So all in all, she said, you got a good balance of things happening here, but you are skewing that way. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So after the microbes, then you can click on to recommendations. And what this will do is give you a series of recommended products for different parts of your skincare routine. They do it by morning. For me, it was a glycolic cleanser, and they gave me a hydrating serum, and they gave me a moisturizer by S. This is a brand I already use. And then they give you the same recommendations for nighttime. And I just found this to be really interesting because there are certain things here that I wasn't factoring in that I realized sort of at the end of this process is something I needed to pay closer attention to. So I love that they are giving recommendations for products that are microbiome friendly. I mean, that's really what they're trying to do here. They do not sell any products. These are just brands that they have done research and they've understood that there is a commonality with what they're trying to achieve in skin health. So next down is a couple of skincare tips. They're saying things like cleanse, make sure you do a double cleanse. And a lot of these things I would do anyway. For those who maybe don't exfoliate, they're talking about the different types of moisturizers to avoid and things to stay away from. And of course, SPF, because everybody needs to do that every day. And it even gives tips for the types of food to be staying away from or paying more attention to, like, high GI foods, which is probably a good idea anyway. But it's saying things like linoleic acid, that you should be looking for foods that are rich in this, which I thought was so interesting, and zinc, which as a micronutrient, which can be really good for the skin. So it's giving all these other little tips for things you might not have thought about that are going to have a positive impact on your skin. And the last is looking at your environment. So it does an assessment of the air quality, which I thought was fantastic. So the woman was saying, Tracy, that I was talking to, so she was talking with somebody in some part of New Jersey that has a really high pollutant level. So the recommendation she was giving to this woman was totally different based on the environment in which she lived. So I found all of this incredibly fascinating, and particularly because on this channel, I'm always tinkering with things. So I sort of said, obviously, or not obviously, I asked the question, if I'm changing the types of products I use, am I going to see different results? And she said, of course, absolutely. So what I'm going to be doing is regularly checking in and doing this test at home to see how the choices that I'm making are impacting my skin. So I'm going to do this every 3 months. And just to track it, it's a really good way for me to check in to see how I'm doing, how my skin is doing, because I'm obsessed with healthy skin anyway. I just can't believe I'd gotten it so wrong. Oily. What? I don't have to powder or blot. Anyway, the thing about this is that it's science-based. It's not anyone's opinion. It's not an esthetician telling me that I have dry skin or dehydrated skin or oily skin. And I've had estheticians tell me all of those things. Now, granted, skin changes. I'm menopausal 100%. I have different skin than I did 10 years ago. It's just funny how I got it wrong. How did I not know? So for me, I found this absolutely fascinating. And if you have an interest, Skin Trust is giving away a free kit. If you want to log onto their website, you can get one of these sent to your home and give it a try. So I'm going to put the link for the test down below. And if you use the code FREEKIT, they'll send you one for free. And guys, it was so enlightening and it was so just surprising. Now, the one thing I took away from it immediately is that I needed to exfoliate more. And I realized that at the fall of last year, I'd done a video recently about it, that I just destroyed the skin. I was just too many actives. I was going crazy and all the experimentation. And I stopped everything, my vitamin A, my vitamin C, everything, including exfoliation. So I slowly have been reintroducing these things back into my skincare within the past, I don't know, maybe 4 months. And exfoliating, however, I just hadn't ramped up enough. So I'm starting to introduce that more back into the routine since I got these results last week. And my skin's feeling great. So I just thought this was brilliant, guys. This is, this is science. This is not subjective. This is using technology to understand what's the truth behind our skin. So that is it for today's video. Again, I'm going to ask the question, do you know your skin type? The answers might totally surprise you. It surprised me, but it enables me to make different choices and to do better things to make healthier skin. So that's it for today. Please, guys, are you interested in this? Are you curious? Are you going to try it? Leave your comments down for me below because I would love to hear about it. And if you do this, let me know how you get on with the results because I cannot believe how surprised I was. There you go. I totally enjoyed this. I will be doing it again in another 3 months and I'll probably report back and say, has my number changed? You want to get that number up. You want to be over 80 to have a nice, balanced, healthy skin. Thanks, guys. I will see you at the next video. Bye. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Okay, Mary, wake the fuck up.